Hearing a lot of people that are like, oh, it's a bad market and it's not a good time to sell. It's not a good time to buy. You've got interest rates, you've got this, you've got that. But I mean, it's real estate. So you cannot go wrong with real estate. If you wait, you're just waiting until something changes and you're paying more one way or another, whether it's interest or your purchase price. We think outside the box quite a bit. We have more of a boutique style. And so as a new agent comes in, I think you have to have that. You cannot just come in as a realtor and think, oh, I'm just going to take listings. I'm going to throw them out in the wind. They're going to sell and that's it.
Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast. As always, I bring you the best of the best, and today I have a dynamic duo. These two ladies lead a team with production of nearly $50 million in gross volume in 2023. Partnerships are not easy, and I look forward to pulling back the curtain on this one to find out how it works. Let's welcome this duo that makes the Helfer Bliss Team, Sarah Helfer and April Bliss, to the show. Welcome.
Hi. Hey, thanks for having us.
For some reason, I wanted to spell your name with an I, Sarah. I don't know what. I caught myself this morning. All right. But welcome, ladies. Finally got you on.
Yes, it's been a long time. We've been talking about this for a very long time.
I am
years.
In looking at your production, people need to know what you guys are doing, because you're doing something must be going on over there, right? The Helfer Bliss Team. You've got a few support agents we'll talk about here in the show and so forth. But you're doing something. We look forward to getting your story. So I want to start off just natural curiosity. Where did you guys initially actually meet?
So we met at a brokerage. I started off at Watson about 13 years ago and was there for a few years. And then April came along.
10 years ago?
Yeah, 10 years ago, 3 years after me. And we met at Watson. And we were both single agents at that time. And that's when we
just hit it off, a friendship, started hanging out.
We had a good friendship.
I think from the start, she was the first agent I met when I was there and touring. Met her and then a couple of the other agents, and four of us that we really hit it off. We supported each other and worked together quite a bit, even though we were single agent. But I mean, aside from business, we all became. So
the creation of the Helfer Bliss team started at Watson at this time.
Yes. I mean, we weren't a team at that point, but the friendship.
The friendship.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll go on. As I always want to start off the show, I want to get a little background on both of you so everyone kind of knows a little bit about you guys. So I'm going to start with April. Since it starts with an A, we'll start with you. April, where are you from?
Here, from Jacksonville. I was born and raised here, Jackson Beaches, and raised my kids here. Actually, my mom was here since she was a year old. The whole family's been here.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you go to high school?
At Fletcher.
Okay.
Yep. I went to Fletcher, and then my kids went to Fletcher. So we've been around the beach a long time.
Remind me that I'm going to tell you about this crazy thing. I officiate football, high school football. Okay. I was out at Fletcher this past season, and we'll talk about it after the show. What happened?
It's gonna be a good story.
Yeah. I mean, oh my God, drama.
Not at Fletcher.
But you go on to get a criminal justice degree, if I saw that correctly in your LinkedIn.
That was originally, I kind of thought I was going to go into something having to do with law, investigation. I like to investigate things. So thought that was going to be great. But I was also a single mom and had 3 kids. And about the time I started really kind of diving into what am I going to do with this degree, I realized it really wasn't feasible. I was going to be working like nights, weekends, holidays. Had to figure something else out.
So you actually saw yourself in law enforcement. It wasn't like, hey, I'm getting criminal justice, maybe I'll move on to be a lawyer, but you
honestly, I think I was just very intrigued by the criminal justice system and politics in general. And I saw myself more maybe like detective work and investigating crimes. And I didn't realize, hey, you've got to work your way up. You don't just kind of slide in there and, hey, here I am.
Unless you're a forensic scientist or something like that, they jump through. So here's your probably toughest question of the day. How has your criminal justice degree helped you in analyzing some of your clients sometimes?
I don't I don't think I've necessarily looked at it that way. I don't think.
So imagine psychology. You took they take
yeah.
a good bit of psychology, right?
Yes, yes. I think I'm really intuitive, and I really listen to our customers and kind of get in their heads. So perhaps that's where that came from. But I just enjoy people, and that's what I love about what we do, is that we get to really get to know these people and what they're looking for and the things that they're doing, purchasing a home. Like, that's changing their life. That's a brand new beginning for somebody. So I definitely enjoy that. And the criminal justice thing, I think, was more just an interest,
right?
Maybe better suited as a hobby.
So, yes, I've had, you guys are going to be like episode 170 something, 160 of them were real estate agents. I've had numerous single moms. Were literally the late Sarah Rocco, for example. She was on, and she all of a sudden, her husband filed for divorce, and she was working. She wasn't working. She had to find something to do, and it's very interesting. It sounds like you were in a somewhat of a similar situation. You were a single mom, 3 kids. What am I going to do? And then I imagine real estate has changed your probably your lifestyle and everything, what you're able to provide your kids and their opportunities.
I was newly single mom and decided actually to go back to school to get my degree because my son was graduating from high school. And I was like, you have to go to college. You don't have any other options. You have to go to college. And then I was like, wait a second, I'm kind of a hypocrite. I've been raising kids all these years. And, if I'm going to tell my kids that they need to do this, I need to do it too. So I went back to school and was like, let's see who graduates first. And then I didn't even use it. So, but I do think that there's a lot, even on the legal side, whenever I'm like reading documents and kind of breaking those things apart, where I understand it a little better and can help maybe explain it a little better.
100%. All right, Miss Sarah, where are you from?
I am from Tampa, Clearwater Beach.
Cool.
So, born and raised there. Been in real estate my whole life. So I started off really young.
Have you ever been to O'Maddie's in Gulfport?
No.
No? Okay, I just wondered. It's a local hangout over there in the Gulfport, Clearwater area.
I'm
okay.
surprised I haven't.
Yeah, it's a you get local color for sure. I could, yeah. All right, but anyway.
I had Gasparilla there this weekend, so I just got back.
Yes, I saw you. But you've been doing a lot of traveling. Have you been traveling, April? Am I seeing? I've been watching both of your social media, so I think you've been doing a lot of traveling.
Nobody travels as much as Sarah.
They always say you do the most business when you travel, so I always travel.
Oh yeah, it makes the phone ring, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes. But I'm born and raised in Tampa. I was in real estate my whole life. My father owns a lot of commercial buildings, malls, shopping centers.
Oh.
They would build them, and I would lease them out, and just kind of started from there.
So at what age did you start working with Dad?
Oh, young. He had me taking out trash and earning some money young. And I learned a lot through, just commercial real estate. And I always thought I was going to do commercial real estate. Honestly, I went to college for fun at UCF. I never really, I got a business administration degree, but didn't really, just always knew I was going to do real estate.
Something in real estate. I did notice recently you sold a nice commercial building here in the last few weeks.
And it's funny, I really don't even enjoy commercial real estate anymore. I really like residential, but I always tend to go to commercial real estate.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just, we all have our niches. It's something that's easy for me with commercial, but I enjoy residential better.
Is the typical commercial client more of the, the business? Especially if they're buying, they obviously, probably have money or, business that's established. So it's not as personable type. It's not you're not dealing with a couple or something where they're making an emotional decision where they're going to raise their kids. Or,
it's they know what they want. I mean, my last commercial one was a medical building, so it's they're you really they know what they want. And then after college, I came here and started residential about 13 years ago. And
so what brought you to this side of the state?
I met a guy.
Oh, wow.
And he's still around.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought of that, but I wasn't going to ask that question.
Yeah. I met a guy in college, and, he He really helped me with my career and stuff.
You started at Watson.
Yeah.
What was it there? Because a lot of new agents, there's a lot of great agents in the city that started their careers at Watson. Some of them still there, some going on and move. What was it at Watson at that time that attracted you over there?
I would tell people definitely interview with a ton of brokerages. I did not, and I really didn't. I was young and didn't really know. I just went to Watson Training School, got my license there, and then immediately they recruited me, and I started at Watson. I never, went to different brokerages and didn't go to different brokers. And looking back on that, I wish I would have. But I loved it there, and they were great. They were great, and I stayed there for.
He has a lot of resources, and I know a lot of the brokers in the St. Augustine area more than the Jacksonville area, just because I spent a lot of time down there when I was with Ameris Bank. But would you agree? And April, chime in on this. How important is to match up with that broker or find that broker who like we talked about pre-shows could. Adding value and trying to stay in front of you, because over a course of years, a broker, either they get tired or whatever it is, that something changes their career path and maybe they're not adding value like they were initially.
When I started at Watson, I think I started and 2 weeks later the broker left.
Same.
And we had I think we had 4 or 5 brokers within the first few years.
I think I started and I went through 3, and then you have those times in between where there's nobody active in the office, but that's
we
huge.
Really worked on other people in the office, and it was a great.
Did you feel because you had a little bit, growing up with the family, having a little bit of acumen to real estate in general, that kind of helped you through that a little bit?
When I first started, I got very lucky. The first week at Watson, I had posted on social media that I got licensed. Immediately, I had someone reach out to me and say, "Hey, can you list my house in Durban Crossing?" And it was for like $550. And at that time, I think the house now is worth over $1 million.
I was going to say, 10, 12 years ago, whatever.
And I was like, oh, wow, this is my first listing. And then it just started boom from there. I just got lucky and I got Rookie of the Year that year. And it just happened fast. I got lucky. I feel, if I wouldn't have got that first listing, I think I would have been like, what do I do?
Let's tail off of that. The first listing kind of came from somewhere.
Yes.
Don't really know. What do you think helped you get that Rookie of the Year? How did you keep the mojo going?
The first listing I got, I went and did an open house and I knocked on all the doors of this neighborhood and I just made a relationship with them. And then the neighbor actually across the street after I sold it, he was like, oh, wow, like you sold that so quickly. And I got his listing. And so it just kind of started, I started doing open houses and that kind of stuff. And it just started really working. And
let's go knock on another door.
Now, I don't know if I would knock on a door. But back then, it was great.
That was the thing.
Right.
It was the thing.
April starts a few years later, right? What are some of the things, April, did Sarah kind of give you some insight? Tell us about your first year, some of the trials and tribulations that you dealt with.
I think kind of similar to Sarah, right? Actually, when I was still in school, before I even was active at Watson, I got my first listing. They were waiting for me to pick a brokerage. And so I started.
It was like a family or friend type of thing? Okay. All right. Those helped get kicked off.
A great, good start. Yeah. And so I had that. And that one ended up being really tricky. And I was working with an agent that had been in the business like 20, 30 years. So every single little thing that went wrong, it would remind me of how long she had been in the business.
How important, just to give that tip, that new agent, or maybe an agent might be in the business for a year, but just kind of like there and hasn't really, done any great production. How important is it to find that mentor like that?
I think in that scenario, it wasn't even so much of a mentorship. It was more, I felt like I was new coming out of school and questioning myself. And this agent was not trying to mentor me. She was trying to kind of lead me in her direction, which was better for her customer. not necessarily what was better for my customer at the time.
Okay.
So a little different.
Now we're digging
No,
into
it's
some
that
stuff
way.
here. Okay.
And I still would say that's kind of something to learn from, because my gut was, this is not what's best for this transaction for my customer. And if I just kind of go with it because I feel insecure, I'm not doing a good service for my customer. And so I really kind of had to right out of the gates say, I know what I'm doing. I understand the stuff. I think that's where like that legal background, because I did also work like in a law office for a time. I could kind of dissect a lot of these things and retain that information and really understood it. It wasn't just kind of
It gave you some confidence because you had that little bit of background of reading between the lines. Yeah.
So, you know, she'd say, oh no, you can't do this. I was like, actually, this is how this is going to go. And it was a really difficult first transaction, but I had a lot of support in the office. And every time I was like questioning myself, like Sarah and some of the other agents, I'd say, am I really crazy? Because I feel like this is the right way to go. And they're like, you are right there. And they definitely gave me that support and built me up and got through. I mean, it was a very difficult transaction. That
you guys have several agents on the team. I imagine over the years people have come and gone. That's one thing, and we're going to talk about is retention and how important it is, especially growing a team. If you want to actually grow the team, you got to retain people, right?
Definitely do things a little differently with our team.
I imagine you've had a lot of first year agents. Or a lot, at least several of your agents have been, they're green, right?
Yes.
They're just getting started. So based on your two experiences here in your first, whether it's 3 months, 12 months, and so forth, how, if somebody's listening to this right now, is thinking about becoming a real estate agent or maybe in a class, why should they consider possibly calling you guys? Explain a little bit how you were, based on your experience, your knowledge, now, the years you guys have been in it, to be able to pour back into that new agent and really help them possibly become a rookie of the year.
I will say that, whatever your support system is, whether it's with a team or you just have a very strong broker, it is important in those first few years to have somebody that is on your side, that is helping walk you through. No matter what, every transaction is going to be different. And
picks up the phone when you call because you're trying to get through something at 9:30 at night.
And I think that's something that we learned, starting out in a large brokerage. You start in this brokerage and you have this connection with the broker. That's why you choose it. But there also is a lot of turnover sometimes in these larger brokerages. And so you choose something based on this one person who is going to help you, and then that person's gone.
What do you think? I guess one thing we always express with because this is a popular subject, is finding that right broker, because it could make or break. Not everyone can just go out there and do it no matter who they're under and find their way. Some people need to learn the business, whether, and get that kickoff. What are some things when they're talking to a broker, and I think you guys both will agree, they need to be interviewing the broker. And what kind of questions, what kind of things they need to find out about that brokerage before they make a decision? What are some key, things?
I mean, I think if they're just going in as a single agent and looking for a broker that's going to be supporting them, make sure that this broker is going to have staying power. Really look into the company and, how long has this broker been there? How about the broker before that? Who is going to support you if for some reason this one person is gone? You then just kind of there? Are you reaching out, trying to find just random people to help you? That's where I think that the team dynamic really can be a good step for a new agent. But we also have agents that have been in the business for 7 and 8 years. And it's with us, our team is very much like a family. And we were told early on, don't do that. Don't personalize things. Make this a business and teach them stuff and let them move on.
Yeah,
and
we do things a little different than most, which makes us.
But it's interesting. I think, I had a Haley Davis on, and she dissolved her team. I think she's got a little partnership now, but her being so young and having a team, she felt that she had to kind of figure out how to draw that line. Yeah. But as you get more mature, it's a little more easier to, I don't know if it's easier, but the camaraderie, the family oriented keeps the team together, know that you got each other's back. And when they go on vacation, somebody can, pick up that showing if you have to, or whatever it may be, right?
It's definitely one of the reasons why we started a team too, is that reason. Just, being there for each other and that kind of stuff. And definitely accountability too. If you said, what are you looking for in a broker? Make sure there's someone that's going to give you accountability, because a lot of these agents, they come in and they think that, they see these HGTV shows and their phones are ringing and they just think it's, we're going to get all these calls, and you have to be.
It's going out and showing a house.
You have to be motivated. You have to go out there and find it and find these clients and prove to them to use you, because the way you're going to get these listings is referrals and past clients. And most of our business is past clients and referrals. So
the rookie of the year, going to trail back to the same question I gave April, I don't think anybody does anything all by themselves. You probably, well, I'm going to use the word stole, but, you saw other successful people and duplicated some of the things that they were doing. Some of it may come from a broker. If I'm looking for that kind of atmosphere, I would hope a new agent is looking for that kind of atmosphere, right? They want to be the fifth person in the room type of thing. What kind of things, should that new agent be looking for that you experienced, and try to find a similar place where you were looking at other successful people and could duplicate a lot of things that they were doing?
Yeah, you definitely want to have support. You definitely want to be out there, get your name out there, talk to people, go to events. We do a lot of events. Anything that you can do to find your niche and find something that you love, and get out there and put your name out there, and, let them know, hey, I'm in real estate. And
what have you shamelessly stole from someone? An idea.
Okay, this sounds terrible. I'm going to just say it though. There was about a year where I had my son, and I slowed down. I wanted to stay home with him. And I saw that there was this woman who was bringing her son to a senior citizen facility, and she would pass out cookies and her cards and stuff. And I was like, that is such a good idea.
Another real estate agent.
Yeah. Another real estate would bring her children there.
She was at the senior center handing out her cards.
Because they're going to have to move soon. I mean, they have to sell a house, or
possibly, if they haven't
going to have to, so I started being like, oh, that's smart.
Interesting.
So I brought my son I started bringing my son there and just bringing out cookies, and I never did business. I never talked business until after a while. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm in real estate. And then it was like, oh, I have a house that needs to be sold, or it just started from there. And that was one thing that I actually did well on.
Wow.
Sounds terrible. I know. But I was
She did enjoy it.
Well,
I really enjoyed it. I was going to say,
she was getting
with
stuff
real
out of
estate,
it.
you have to find things that you love to do.
Yeah.
And you don't want to ever bring business and things you love to do until there's a time. So
that brings up an interesting thing I like to talk about, because I think a lot of people underestimate your business and my business we live our businesses. Yeah. We are always representing in one way, shape, or form as a resource. So whether we're at a cocktail party or whatever, people are asking questions about real estate. Mm-hmm. See, whether it's about what's the interest rate, or what do you think my house? I had a friend of ours, my son plays on my son's basketball team, and he came up and was asking about, hey, the HOA wants to put a basketball court in the common area beside my house. What do you think it would do? Those are questions that come up all the time, wherever you're at. The reality in your situation going to the senior center was you put a lot of smiles on people's faces.
Yeah, I enjoyed just my son running around, putting smiles and seeing, just that.
And if you got something from it, great. But it should, I think a lot of people go in immediately and say, what's the return on investment? That's why I think a lot of people don't do a lot of social media, because, I put a couple videos up and nobody called me. It doesn't exactly happen that way. You have to be going regular, because how many times did you go there before someone even talked to you about real estate?
A year.
Yeah.
I didn't even, at least, but it was just, it's just an idea I saw, and I was like, oh, that's smart. Just thinking outside the box. And I started going, and because I enjoyed it, and I started getting listings from that. And I was
how many of those seniors, they have kids, right?
That's a lot.
And how many of those kids still rely on mom and dad for advice, even though mom and dad are at the point of being put in a home to say, hey, call Sarah, I met her, she'll help you out with, buying your first home, whatever, or sell our home or whatever. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Is that okay?
That is that's a good story right there. I like that story.
Be honest.
We talked about the first brokerage. So when do you guys decide to team up and form?
I left Watson. I loved Watson, but it was just, I went to a smaller brokerage and I liked it a lot. And April and I still talked a lot. And I said, you should come check this place out. And she did. And she moved over. And then we went to lunch. And it was at the point where, sometimes with agents, you can have 10, 15 closings a month. And sometimes you can have 0. It's just crazy. And the day we went to lunch, I was very slammed and I had so much going on and I was giving a lot away because I'm only one person and I was just referring it all out. And, I remember being, why are you giving this away? And I just remember being like, you're only one person. There's no way I can do showings, find things on MLS, and I can't be the best for my clients when I'm trying to do it all.
Right.
So I'd rather refer it out and focus on, just a few clients. And then
so you guys are at lunch.
Yeah, we're at lunch and they had been trying to get like a team started because it was just stupid for me to throw those away. And I talked to April and randomly I was like, I wouldn't really want to do a team with anyone else besides you, honestly.
Right.
Just random,
Yeah, and it wasn't even,
and it wasn't like a thing.
It was like a joke.
Yeah, it was like,
and that's
maybe we should. And then I thought about it and I was like, wow, we really should. And then I went to A to Z. Immediately I was like,
this
all right,
this
let's
is
go.
our roles here.
And
She's
it was
A to Z.
It was kind of funny. I called the trainer and I was like, I think we're going to do this team. And he was like, I don't know if that's like a great idea because usually with friends, it doesn't work out and partnerships and that kind of stuff. And he said, take this personality test. I think it was like the Myers-Briggs or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we took the personality test and we got back the next day and he was like,
you were yin and yang.
holy shit.
He was like, what?
He was like, you guys are perfect for each other. You guys are going to succeed. We're so different, but we think alike. So
Awesome.
Yeah, I
really
think he
worked
said,
out.
he was like, I was prepared to come in and sit down and explain to you all of the reasons not to do this. And then I looked at these reports and I couldn't have built a better team.
Yeah.
So
really.
It was just like that.
Great.
It was a 5-minute conversation at lunch. I think the next thing was like, what do we call ourselves?
Right.
What are we going to name ourselves? That was pretty much that.
Did you flip the coin over whose name goes first?
No, actually,
No,
she started.
April really takes things slow, and I go to like A to Z. I think I had everything already. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. And
Here's our logo.
Calm down.
Actually.
We need to we need to.
She
out
said,
details.
actually, initially, she said Bliss Helfer. She was like, how about Bliss Helfer Team? And I was like, that sounds
She used the
weird.
reverse psychology on you.
Then everybody was saying, don't use your name. Initially, everybody was like, no, don't use your name. You just come up with some random team name. And we kind of threw some things around and we were like, no, this is us. And one of the biggest things that made us want to team up is that it's very personal. Everything is personal. I do not care whether I am selling your investment property. I do not care if I am selling your parents' home, your first home, your 10th home.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know the people that I'm working with. She's the same way. And we think outside the box. We do a lot before and after the transactions with our customers. So we're like, this is personal and our name should be personal. And
So do you have, there's skills on either side?
we have our strengths.
When do you start? How is, and I'm sure it's maybe still developing to today. I don't, I think teams are always tweaking things, but who's taking the lead on certain situations and who's taking the lead on others to really, because there's things that Sarah's really good at and there's things that April's really good at and vice versa.
We kind of already know. We have like a flow. I mean, like I will tell you, just jokingly, like you could be wrong and April could be wrong and she will tell you she's right and she'll tell you why. And she's so good at words. I've never met someone better at words. I mean.
So she negotiates?
No, she puts people in our place. That's what I should say.
Okay.
But like.
I can show you a different perspective.
She can,
she's more the analytical one, comes in and uses more factual.
We joke around and we say, okay, we need to be April today. Because
giving out all the secrets.
there's so many people in a transaction. You're dealing with, buyers, sellers, buyers, moms, title,
lenders, yeah.
everything. So many, insurance. And if someone tells you all their transactions are smooth, they are lying. We are human beings. We're caught up in an emotional transaction, and there's going to be times where things go wrong. There is. And April is great at, facts. She's the fact check. This is right. This is wrong. And she's great at that.
One thing I learned about sales early, and I mean, I'd always remember this. I tell a story with sales where we were selling cell phones in the mid 90s, basically giving them out. And me and a friend of mine, he got the rights from Bell Atlantic Mobile at the time, which obviously eventually became Verizon. But we were out at fairs on the edge of coverage, right? Handing out cell phones to these people that, lived out, drove 20 miles to go to Walmart, right? And there's sometimes where you could be sitting there talking to somebody, and for some reason it's not clicking. It's some reason they're not like, you don't feel comfortable. Are we ready to close yet? Are we not? And the TO, to turn them over and let the other person come in and just say the same thing, but a little differently, and present it. And what that does. And I think a lot of people get almost like selfish. This is my deal. I don't want, sometimes you need to, sometimes it's the manager, sometimes it's your partner. It's just got to come in, and she's coming in and saying something different. And then all of a sudden now you broke through, and now you're able to move on to the next step, right?
I think a lot of it is I can retain a lot of what's going on. And so I'll be we're a part of all the transactions. So it does not matter which agent on our team is working something. She and I are always involved, and the other agents and other people that are involved may not hear from us, but we are very aware of everything that's going on. And at the point that the agent steps back and this is happening and really having a hard time getting through, and we really need to get this together, that's when I can kind of slide in and be like, okay, from day 1 and day 7 and day 10 and day 12, these were the things. This is what's going on. And we're supposed to all be working together, and let's kind of put our emotions back and look at the facts, and let's get this done, because we should all be working together against each other.
If I'm hearing you correct, because the way you guys listed, you mentioned broker and April. I don't know. I was going through all your social media, but you're taking more of running the backside of stuff. Am I correct? Sarah's doing more sales.
April's a broker. So right. She knows so many. Her facts are crazy. Right. Like she knows things that a lot of, we're always learning and stuff, but I feel like she's always on top of it. She always knows.
So you take it, in which this is really good. I think it's good to get out to why you're always tabbing in and keeping tabs of where the other, because like I said, something's going to come off the tracks. It's just, that's why humans are involved in this transaction. And I don't ever think in real estate sales and how it could be done with non-humans, because it could be something as crazy title work or whatever, or human emotion. Something comes off the track, and humans need to be involved to right that ship. So you, as following up on the other agents and the other team, just keeping tabs on where that is, where they at negotiation. Has the inspection been done? Are we past the repairs? So your team is prepared and always has the confidence that you got their back.
Yeah. We also have a TC. So our transaction coordinator is amazing. And she's been with us since 2020, and she is always on top of those details and paperwork and all of that stuff. It's at the point I'll sit, and we're both involved, so I don't want there to be any kind of miscommunication there, that Sarah's right there alongside me. She knows everything that's going on too. There's plenty of times that she's the one that's stepping in and, hey, I've got this. It's great having a team with one of your best friends, because we do think a lot alike. And there's a lot of times where we're not together and there's something going on, and we'll both send an email.
Same text.
Yeah, exact same words. Wait, are you in my head? How did this just happen? Right. And people would be like, wait, y'all are sitting next to each other sending messages? Like, we really were not. No, but that happens probably a good 70-80% of the time. It's almost verbatim, what we're writing and what we're thinking. So
and it's hard because every transaction's different. So it's hard to train agents and be like, this is how you're supposed to do it, because every transaction's different. and every house is different and every property is different. So you can't sit there and train them. You really have to go through the process with them a bunch of times. And, I never have to say, you have to do it this way, because it's not going to be right. No. There's going to be so many times. So following both of us a lot, like sometimes she'll do a transaction and I'll do a transaction with them, and just to see how two different ways do it.
And it's also availability. So a lot of the times too, that's one of the other great things is that, you mentioned before, she travels a lot.
Yeah.
So she travels a lot. And that was one of her things. She said, I want to have a team because, my family is important to me. And when I go and I travel with my family, I need to be focused on them. And I do not want to have people that I'm letting down. And then same with me. I have 3 kids. I have a granddaughter. I have a lot of other things going on. I have one of my daughters in California, so I travel there a lot. And when I'm with them, I want to be present. But we are both very committed to our team and to the girls on our team.
I think what's really cool about, listening to what you guys are telling me is you guys are on the same page. You may look at it from a different angle, but the bottom line is you both are headed to the right target.
Well, and you need that.
Yes.
You need that because you need a different perspective a lot of times. And I'm doing that for, a lot of the agents on our team. But I'll be in a position on my own transaction where you can start just, wait a second, this other agent is very sure of this and I'm very sure of this. And I just need to kind of step back and, what are your thoughts on this?
Right.
And,
it is, because if you have, just one team lead, first off, they're not going to be there all the time. They're going to have, they have a life too. And they also have other agents to attend to.
And they should.
And they should. Yeah. But it's great that there's always one of us, and we think alike, but we also do things a lot different. It just gives a different way to think about, how you want to do your own business.
I just think it's amazing the partnership, just naturally, your personalities, you come together and you are, like you said, you could finish each other's sentences a lot. It's basically what you're saying when you're doing those text messages and so forth, that the agents don't see you as, mommy and daddy contradicting each other. They see you guys are consistently giving them solid advice with the same ideology, same culture that the Helfer Bliss team brings. That's how I could say that with a lot of words there.
Yeah. We are consistently consistent in how we do this.
All right. So let's spice it up a little bit. Here's a tough question. Sarah, what is one thing, though, that April does that just is
She doesn't stop talking.
Okay.
Oh my God. Sometimes I'll text her and want like a quick answer, yes or no. And
you're waiting 5 minutes.
And everyone will tell you that. No,
it doesn't have to take 5 minutes.
20 page of, and I'm like, and she'll laugh and she'll be like, did you get my text? I'm like, yeah, I read the last part. Like, I just need I'm A to Z. I just need the answer. I don't need all the details. But it's funny.
What's going on with this?
But it's great to have that, because if you need a detail person, she knows every detail to everything. I think we had an agent one time was like, oh, April was like, didn't give us enough details. And we were like, what? Hold on. Like,
now we know you're wrong.
She is the detail queen. So
yeah. You sure you're talking to April?
Yeah, it's the
wrong transaction.
All right. Throwing it back at you. What is it Sarah does? It's kind of, you go,
probably try too much.
Every relationship has it. We all have that one thing that
she would say that she travels too much, but even when she's traveling, she's available. Those little moments where she needs to be present, but there's times where I'm actually like, Sarah, put your phone away. You do not need to be present right now. And I've got this, and go kind of do your thing with your family. I think when it comes to like what she does wrong, she doesn't
just anything. I don't know. The way she blows her nose. I don't know.
She knows I'm going to beat her after this.
She threatens me a lot. Ugh. I think we all joke around about the fact that I talk a lot. So that was like an easy one.
Yeah.
As far as Sarah goes, I think it's a pro and a con. The fact that she's that A to Z person, we kind of ground each other in that, because she gets me to make decisions at a certain point where I might have kind of dragged things out.
Procrastinate a little too long.
Yeah. Let me think this through for 10 days before I make a decision. And that day she's, no, we're doing this. Which sometimes I'm like, all right, you have not really considered all of these things. And like, You can't just go from A to Z. We have to consider these things. But in those situations, she'll be like, okay, you're right, sit back. And then she allows me to slide in all the details. So that probably is like the biggest thing, but it is a pro and a con for us.
What's April's superpower? For one thing, you say is her like
her words. Even if she's wrong, she will make you think she's
Not
right.
wrong.
She's great at words.
if you need to write a particular email or say something specific to someone, you're going to rely on April to help you.
If there's something tricky and I'm like, I really need to make sure my facts are straight and how do I get this word across? She's got it.
Concise and she communicates well. Okay. What's her superpower?
She is always on. She is always just ready to go. She is
brings the energy.
She brings the energy. She makes herself available. If anybody needs anything, I mean, she will always be the first person that I would call and know she's going to answer and know that even if she does not have the answers to whatever's going on, she is going to get them. She is going to show up 100% of the time.
Excellent. It's always great to have a friend or a partner that you can call and is going to, carry the team to the finish line.
She's smart as a whip too. Like she's been in this business obviously longer than me. She was in the business. She's just a really great person to go to when you want like the facts just in general with like real estate. Like she knows her stuff. She is on it.
Rapid fire. Let's just go a little bit about the team. Tell me about some of the players on the team now.
So we have 4 agents right now. 2 of them have been in the business for about 7-8 years. And then we have another agent who's been in the business for about 3 years. And she's a badass. She's awesome. We have someone who's only been in the business for about a year, but she is great. She's
off to a great start.
She's hungry. She's dedicated. She's motivated. She's amazing.
She's doing the stuff that realtors don't like to do. She is that person that is going out and getting in front of, the expireds and the for sale by owners. And she is hungry and she is going to be a rock star for sure.
Yeah.
I think she was one that we were not going to bring anyone else onto the team because at a certain point that things are good, don't want to bring anybody else on, and we have a good flow. And she was kind of persistent. And
what is it she thought? What did she see in the two of you that she just had to be on the team? What do you think?
Have to ask her.
She was very persistent.
She was persistent.
I think I remember what she said. She came one time and I think we were like, no, we're okay. Because we are very picky who we hire. A lot of agents and teams will just hire anybody. We're more of a culture family. We're very picky, but we're all different. We have all different personalities. But, we don't just hire anybody. And she came back and was like, I cried when when you told me we couldn't be on the team. And I was just like, oh my God.
She was like, that's really all I want. She was like, she was at our other brokerage. She was a single agent at first. And then she was really wanting to be on a team. And it just wasn't the right timing. And I think there was also just a lot going on personally. And we were like, we cannot bring on somebody that's new and add anything new. And so we loved her, but we were like, it just doesn't work. But we were helping her. So she was still coming. We were helping her with like contracts and how to follow up and do stuff. We were like, we'll help you to do all these things. We just can't be always available. Right
over the, I mean, you guys obviously have seen a lot of different agents. I think they come the team environment, and then every team is different. I can bring in I eventually do want to actually have a little round table of 3 or 4 different teams that I know, because I've had all of you on and talk to you how you run your teams and that sort of thing, and go back and have a little banter on how the teams are run.
Our team is very different than most.
Yeah. And
I think everybody is so different. It would be great to just kind of pick everybody's minds and kind of see how
their ideology of how how things are done. Seeing the different agents you guys have met and talked to, some agents can just go out and they just want to do it on their own and type of thing, where there are agents in maybe do they take a DISC test? I don't know, where they figure out or come to the conclusion that it sounds like this particular person, just based on your brief description, wants to be part of something bigger than just themselves. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. Or, obviously, having that day-to-day thing where they're coming in and seeing that friend, like someone coming into the office and seeing their, the person in the cube next door every day, it makes them feel comfortable, right? Is that, I mean, just some different agents that you've worked with through the years that, or this particular agent is just, is that the atmosphere that she thrives in?
I think a lot with her, we did a lot of trainings. We were in a lot of trainings and we were pretty vocal in a lot of those trainings and kind of throwing things around and like how we were doing things and how we were maybe working with the people that were in our team. And that kind of resonated with her. And that is what I want. And I think she liked the way we thought. She liked the way we did things. And that is what's important with our team is that you have to kind of be on the same page. We're not going to change who we are. This is who we are. This is what you get. And we all need to kind of be on the same page.
We help agents out all the time that are not on our team.
Yeah.
Our old brokerage, people would come to us all the time, just be like, hey, how do we do this? What do I do that? And we would sit there and help them. And I think that, they were all like, wow, that you took the time of day to do that on your busy schedule. And I never thought about that. And so it was, Yeah,
but there's a lot of people that maybe aren't looking for a team or just wasn't like the right connection with us. But at no point would we ever just say, oh, good luck. If someone needed help, then we're going to be there and we're going to do it. And we enjoy that. I think that's one of the things that's rewarding with the team.
The success, or I think the success of any organization is retaining people over a period of time.
Yes.
And we talked about it a little bit pre-show, just like any workplace, real estate agents are the same way. When they're no longer, in this case, maybe feel needed because they need to be on a team. And if they're not needed or they're just no longer getting any value out of that broker or team lead, then they start looking somewhere else for that, I don't want to say resource, but for that value. So what do you think are some of the key things and some of the things that you guys maybe lose sleep at night? Because I think anybody leading any sort of team loses sleep because they got this really good player on the team and they don't want to lose them. And you're like, how can I stay in front of them and keep this person, happy and provide them what they're looking for so they can, how can I keep, obviously success. If they're successful, they generally don't. But what are some of the things that go through your guys' minds as leaders, as the team leads, in retaining?
I honestly don't lose sleep at all over it. If you want to go on a different team or if you're not happy, I'm so
maybe that's
ecstatic of you. Like, I will support you. Go do that. We don't have we're busy people, so I don't want to have someone on our team that doesn't want to be there. We have very little turnover, and
I think as we have had any turnover, I mean, we've had some people that just had decided that real estate just really was not what it's not what they saw in their lives, and they had other aspirations. And then there's people who you hit a growth point where if you're really not utilizing the team, what the team embodies, then you kind of should go out and do it on your own.
Right.
We have a different dynamic, and like when we talked about that, it's very personal. The girls that are on our team are like our family. And it is not just business. It is, you are going through something in your life and we all show up at your house. And it's not just us, it's the other girls on the team. Everybody is supporting each other. If for some reason Sarah and I weren't available, any of the other girls would up and show up. I've been out of town and needed someone to go do a showing. These girls are like switching up their schedules to go do it. They may not even get anything out of it, but they know we're going to do the same for them. And I think because it's personal, because we do consider everybody like family, it's something that you want to still be a part of. And they see like we have a lot more coming. We have a lot of exciting things coming in the years to come, and they want to be a part of it, and we want them there with us.
Have you ever had that person on the team? And obviously, they're not on the team anymore because I would kick them off my team. But when you ask them to do something like that, knowing that what comes around goes around, there's going to be a time when they're out of town and they need to cover it. So they can, go do this showing. This person called me and I'm in the airport or whatever. That, I think I don't want to blame it on a generation because there's even my generation where they're like, what's in it for me? Right.
No, our team's not like that at all.
We've actually, I think there's been a few times like Sarah was out of town and things were crazy busy and she knew I was dealing with a lot with a couple transactions. And so she called one of the other agents and was like, I'm going to pay you. Like, I'll pay you for your time on top. And typically, if we're asking them to do something that's personal for us or one of our transactions and we're going to offer to pay them, they typically get very offended. I do not want you to pay me. Like, you're forcing money down their throat, because they're like, no, we all work together, and this is like a benefit for our team.
That's what I think is so just, I mean, my evaluation, listening to you, the smallness of the team gets, you just start hiring people to hire people, say, hey, I want to get to 10 agents as a number versus,
who you hire is everything. Yeah, it really is, you know, and that's why I don't lose sleep over it. Like, who you hire is everything. We are different. Our team is different. We do team trips. We're doing lunches. We're out and about. We enjoy each other. I know the girls professionally, but I also know them personally, because it allows me to get to know that side that's hidden professionally, so I can know what their strengths and weaknesses are. So if leads come in, I'm like, okay, this person's personality is going to be better with this. So we're different. And I think one thing that's very important in real estate is finding your niche. I always say the niches are riches, because you do things that make you comfortable and enjoy. And, I try to find these girls to find what you love to do and then do real estate in that. And so I want to get to know them personally. I want to get to know, what do you guys like? Oh, you're a mom. Let's get some mom groups. Let's get you in there, and you can start doing crafts with the kids at the park. And I get to know them that way. And I see what they love, because you don't want to come to work every day and just be at the office and that kind of stuff. You want to be out there doing stuff. And it's funny, with everyone on our team, we all specialize in a certain area. So I want to know you personally to see what you're going to specialize in there. And there's so many different types of real estate. There is, there's commercial, there's for sale by owners, there's investors, there's just condos, luxury.
Right.
One girl on our team, she's bilingual, so she caters towards that. And we have two girls that really like first-time home buyers. And April's great with VA. If I get a VA, I'm immediately calling her and being like, hey, do you want this VA? Because she's got a daughter in the military. And it's something that's personal to her, so she enjoys it more. She's going to get that repeated customer. They're going to refer it out. I more do luxury. I don't really like to close anything below 700. I will refer it out. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just my niche. I enjoy that. I like it, and I do it all. But last year I think I only did 3 that were under 700, and they were both all over 5. You just got to find your niche, and we help the girls find their niche. And
one thing I've known, and I can ask this question because you used the word hire when really, I mean, there's no transaction coordinator, maybe you've got some salary there or something, but these people are 1099. They're self-employed. I've noticed in really digging in, talking to a lot of the different ages. We talked about the single moms and so forth. The females in this industry I know there's not perfect relationships. There's some cat fighting going on, or jealousies and so forth. But when your team concept that you have and keeping it small, imagine some people have accused you of being in a little girls club type of thing. The girls go out and get their wine together, whatever that is. I know you probably, if a male came over and you thought they would fit in, you'd probably bring them on. But it's just groups. This is naturally kind of come together.
Like I said, we're picky. We jokingly get people all the time that are like, I want to join your group, because we're like, we went to Shania Twain concert and we brought the whole team there. And, that's different. A lot of teams will do that.
You're dating yourself with that one, though. When was Shania Twain?
No, we just went. We had to fly because.
Okay.
Here.
Okay. Is she in Vegas or something? What is she?
She was in North Carolina.
Okay.
I was like, listen, we're all going.
So we went to Charlotte for that. We've gone to Nashville, and we like to do like trips like that. And
it's a little easier when you're a bunch of women. The guy has a little time. Unless you're bringing the husbands along.
We did. I think it was very authentic that it became just women. That was never like, oh, it can only be women. But obviously, we all connected, and there was,
a natural.
That. So it was very authentic. And then I think maybe 2 or 3 times early on, we had men that wanted to join, and we considered it, and we were like, it will change so much of our dynamic and what we're doing. So like we do a lot of events. We've never really done any kind of lead generation. Everything is being out in the community, being involved, doing events, just kind of getting in front of our sphere. So a lot of those things they would change if we had men on the team. I think moving forward as we grow, there's a lot of different considerations on how things will go. But in the meantime, I think we've had a couple guys that were like, do I have to wear a wig? Like, how do I get to be on your team?
You've mentioned moms groups or whatever several times in the hour we've been talking and so forth. That's natural to you, right? These events, I imagine, are very natural to the female, where the guys are like, do I want to go to
we do get some kickback.
Bring my son to the nursing home or whatever. I wouldn't think of doing that.
But we have had that when we've said it's a mom's group, and we've gotten, some response from dads that are like, so I can't bring my kid. And so we've had to switch that up a little bit. It's Cross for Kids. So yes, dads are invited. You can come and do it. We're not against dads. We're not against men. It has just been very authentic in how it's happened.
Just naturally get together.
Yeah.
I'm going to have about 4 more questions. 4 more questions here. We'll finish up. And rapid fire here. 3 things that you think someone who might be in licensing right now, hasn't even joined a brokerage. 3 things that a new agent starting today, 2024, high interest rates, twice as much as they were just 2 years ago. Inventory's low. We got an election year going on. A lot of people are, I think standing on the sidelines, in my opinion, that type of thing. What are 3 as an agent coming in today so that they're not quitting in 3 months or not renewing in their 2 years? What do they need to know, do you think, today?
One of the biggest things for us is, you're hearing a lot of people that are like, oh, it's a bad market and it's not a good time to sell. It's not a good time to buy. You've got interest rates. You've got this, you've got that. But it's real estate. So you cannot go wrong with real estate. If you wait, you're just waiting until something changes and you're paying more one way or another, whether it's interest or your purchase price. We think outside the box quite a bit. We have more of a boutique style. And so as a new agent comes in, I think you have to have that. You cannot just come in as a realtor and think, oh, I'm just going to take listings. I'm going to throw them out in the wind. They're going to sell and that's it. What can you do to differentiate yourself? What can you do to bring added value to your customers that maybe the next agent is not going to do? And I don't think we really think of it as competing with other agents. I think there's plenty of business for everybody. And so if I'm going out and meeting with customers, if I'm not the right fit, then I would expect them to go with another agent. But I need to add my own value. So if you are new and you're coming out there, we meet with our customers ahead of time. We figure out, who is going to be looking at this as a listing, who is going to be our audience for this, who are the buyers, where is the best value going to be? Is it with an investor? Is it with a first-time home buyer?
So someone new coming in, if they were new on your team today and they've got this listing, they need to be sitting down with someone with your experience and breaking this stuff down.
Yeah.
Now, Sarah, they may look at you and go, 28 million? Oh my God, I could never do that. Or some go, oh, 28 million, I'm going to do 30. Like they don't even have the rationale what that number actually means. What should I imagine the first thing that you're going to say to them is that this is, how long you've been 10, 12 years in the business? 13 years in the business. This is 13 years of at-bats, building up your client base and so forth to get you there.
Like I said, you got to find what you're good at, find your niche. You don't want to be, just example, if you have a rock and you throw it into a ocean, you're going to have very little ripple effect and you're not going to find it. But if you throw it in a small little pond, you're going to have that splash and, an effect. So if you're going to find something you specialize in, because you can't be good at it all. And, with me, it was luxury. Everyone, you got to find, it's funny, you just said, name 3 things. And my mind went to negotiation skills, market skills, and knowledge. And that was my answer. And then April just gave you like a 5-minute speech. So that literally, I'm like, this is the difference between us. And it works so well. Like, I have an answer, it's done. And
she likes the essay question. She likes the
5 minutes of your. So it works out. But just find what you're good at. there's so many different types of real estate,
You say that that's a very general find what you're good at. If you're coming into the business, you really don't know all that's there. You guys can see it from 30,000 feet because of years of seeing all these different things that have gone on, market changes, all that type of
and you know what?
things.
It's gonna take
How
time.
do you help somebody new coming? Because my last question is going to be, why should someone, reach out to you guys and entertain talking to you and possibly, being part of your team? Could they fit in your team? But how would you help that new agent break that down, what they're good at?
Getting to know them
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's going to take time no matter what. You should do every transaction, see what you're good at. We had a girl who at first she was just all over the place. Now she really only does flips and investors, and she is so good at it. And
She's got a reputation now of being good at it.
Yeah. And she really only does that now. And she's really good at it. So I think, you got to find what you're good at. And
I think that support system is huge.
Yeah.
So I think the team dynamic, if you're really coming in, especially with all of the changes in real estate now, the team dynamic is good, but find someone that you really resonate with and that you have that connection with.
How important is it when you start narrowing down, find this thing to find, obviously this individual likes the investment properties and flips, probably enjoys it. How important is that in your business to find what is it? And then, what is it do you enjoy doing? Because that's really what gets you out of bed in the morning.
It's everything.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, it's everything. If you are doing this, real estate is rewarding, but it is hard. There is a lot. Every single transaction's different. You're going to get hit all kinds of sideways.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not enjoy what you are doing, you are not going to stick it out.
Right.
You are going to hit a point where you're like, I hate this. So you either love it or you don't.
Because you're going to get kicked in the teeth a couple of times. Your face is going to be in the dirt. Someone's going to say no to you.
But if you're
times.
doing it and you're doing something that you actually love, then those moments are just moments, and then they move on, and then you have that rewarding part.
Well, I'm going to throw the question back to you, April, or not back to you. I'm going to create a question and throw this right back at you. What is it that ultimately, like I said, when that alarm goes off and you're getting, or maybe you naturally just get up at whatever time, what is it? It puts a smile on your face and says, I got another day of being a real estate agent. What is it that is the ultimate, like in one sentence, maybe two?
give her timelines. I'll give you a word.
That really is your enjoyment at the end of the day.
I think, the customers are everything. And then our team, I wake up and I know that I have this strong, badass girl boss group of women that are surrounding me, and I get to work with them.
All right, Sarah.
Good.
Customers, I become friends with
all of them.
Pretty much,
Most.
yeah. Pretty much. I know. I've been lucky.
There's some I'm sure have given you like.
You know what?
I just can't wait till it's closes.
I don't get a lot of crazy people. It's good. We have some girls that get all crazies, but I
like attracts like.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I love my clients. Yeah, I love my clients, and I'm still friends with all of them. It's crazy.
I had Sophia Gordon on, very young age, and I don't know if she's 25 years old, but she, that's one of her big things is creating a relationship with every client that she can, or introduces them to somebody that they could be, to say that they introduced, they became friends, or having the little, girls go out and get a glass of wine type of thing with 2 or 3 other people and bringing them in. She obviously, whatever clicked with her from the get-go, this is how I'm going to run my business. And obviously, she's a rookie of the year, very successful, very young age. How important is that relational part in the greater success to reach $28 million as an individual?
It's just so important to have a good relationship with them. I get to know all of them personally. This is the biggest sale with my clientele. They've really purchased many homes before. They have something specific they want. They have a lifestyle they want. They have a design they want. I kind of already go in there knowing what they want. And, I get to know them and I have a relationship with them. And, I still text and call and all the time with them. And, I really enjoy it. I want to know what's going on in their lives. And I want to know everything that's going on with them.
Some people say over the years, obviously you built up, how many sales you've had in 13 years. How do you, in a natural way, not being more of, oh, hey, you know what? I need to check on Sally Smith because I haven't talked to them in 9 months or maybe a year or whatever. How do you naturally, or do you even think about it? Is this something that just comes natural to you?
I think about it all the
touching them in some way, shape, or form?
I will be driving and think about, it's that person's birthday is June 12th. I'm going to send them some berries or, I just think about it all the time. I'm a relationship person. I enjoy talking to people. I always go above and beyond. And it's something that I think relationships are everything. And
do you think about when you're working with a client, you just triggered a question above and beyond? Define something you can go above and beyond on with them.
Let me give you an example of April, actually, that I was so impressed with this the other day. She went and I'll give you an example, me later, but she went and did a listing and she knew the listing needed help and it was a house that needed work and that kind of stuff. And she brought to the listing appointment, because they were interviewing listing agents. She brought to the interview a contractor. And they walked around and they gave him a quote right there, and they didn't have the money to pay for it. So the contractor's paying for it they're paying for the contractor at closing. And she had it all done right there. I have never been to a listing appointment where they have brought the contractor to. It's little things that.
How did you know this about this particular home? You scouted out?
This particular listing, it's a divorce, and they were interviewing half a dozen agents. And so I had been through the process, and they were like narrowing it down to the last two. And I knew it hadn't been renovated. They didn't have the money to do a full renovation, but it was also very lived in, and just kind of had that, don't know if we're going to be able to do the stuff up
Did
front.
you get this information through a phone call with them, or you already?
No,
so by your
talking.
Initial conversation over the phone, you found out the house needed some TLC.
That, and then, just in looking at the comps, there were a lot of really good comps they had been sitting for 90 and 100 days. And they were very close to what this listing was, except you could walk into them and think, oh, I'm going to need a paint. I need to get some matching appliances. It's really dark in here. So I kind of had those main things that make a home stand out. And I brought him along. We walked it. His prices are really good, so you can't beat that. And
and the fact that he was willing to wait till you closed.
He waits till then, and then he also, because he does a lot of business with our customers, will drop what he's doing and show up. And I think that's half of it right now.
That's 90%. Yeah, showing up.
Very tight window, and he dropped everything, and in 3 days we did a lot of work. Not a lot of money, and their home, instead of sitting for over 100 days like the comps, we had 31 showings in the first day and a half, multiple offers, backup offers. We got the price up. There was no need to negotiate.
How much work approximately did they end up spending $10,000?
No, I think it was around like $5,000. It's basic things. The home still would need eventually, some renovations, but it was mismatched appliances. You can go and get used appliances and make them match. You do a fresh coat of paint when it's dark paint and it, needs some patches and stuff. A couple new light fixtures, like $80, $90 light fixtures. And then I think our big thing is you want it to feel light and bright in these homes. And so switching out the light bulbs. Yeah. Make it daylight. Don't make it soft.
Yeah, I've done that.
That changes a home. And these people then were walking into a home that was still very comparable to these other homes, except they could see it as we can move in and then later renovate this or later renovate that.
I was talking to Bobby Brennan the other day, and she says a lot of the buyers right now, they want turnkey. Yeah. They're not looking for that home, I can make this and make it. They want to have the matching appliances and that they can have guests over the next day.
And they know they might have to renovate later, but right now, especially if you have higher interest rates, you're paying more per month. You want to walk into this home, especially like the first time home buyers, which was kind of our audience.
And you're competing with builders a lot on the other side too, right? That's a good competition.
And we priced it the same as these other homes that were 100 days out, and we were under contract in 3 days, or the 25-day close, and no repairs or anything needed. And I will say the other really cool thing is that the inspection report came back and we did not have a single red line item on it because we hit all of those things ahead of time. We took care of it.
Gave the buyer no excuses or have that buyer's
They were
remorse.
comfortable.
Use the inspection as their scapegoat because they have buyers, as we all make contract and like, did I do the right thing? Or is there another house down the street? Because I've heard stories, obviously with the multiple offer things and low inventory, people making offers on homes, they're a week under contract, then find another home they like and finding an excuse to get out of that one to jump to the other one. And
and we were good. And we had backup offers.
That's a great story.
It was a really good.
And that was an example of the go, beyond.
And we do a lot of that stuff. And
We
it's
do
usually
a lot
after
of
we
going-
it's after the listing though, usually.
We really care about our clients. We go above and beyond, like how I said. It's just really with almost all our listings and everything.
There was two things there, actually, above and beyond. But you mentioned earlier, you were asked about the new agent, and I think it was April said, differentiate yourself. That's differentiating yourself. You're the only
for
person
sure.
that did it. Yeah.
I had a client 2 years ago who I got through the J Fund, through the Jaguars, and their child had cancer. And I never said anything, but secretly at the closing table, I had gave my commission to the family, and it was, I think it was like a $10,000 commission. And they were so grateful. And then every year now in July, I donate one of my commissions, and I've done it every year. Last year, I think it was a referral kind of through them. And I took I think it was like $13,000 commission, and I put it towards they have a fundraiser now for it. And so it's, it's just little things like that where you just, you don't always want to think money. You want to go above and beyond and
make it personal.
Yeah, make it personal because they'll come to you if you really care.
So we talked about new agent. There's agents out there, like I said, or maybe with a brokerage, like I said, is not adding value to them. They don't know what to do. Some people are just afraid of change, so they just stick with the dead end road that they're on. What do you think? What can you reaching out to them through the show here? What are some things they have to consider if they want to stay in this business instead of banging their head against the wall every night because they feel they're stuck at these brokerage? It is not unnatural to jump brokerages. I think what it really gets down to the bottom line of the question. You are the product, so to speak. I mean, you're selling houses. But it's you are the person, the agent, because people out there, they don't care whether you're Keller Williams or Remax or whatever. They don't need, it's not like the old days where you're wearing the gold jacket or like Central 21 or Remax had the balloon. Those are the only two I can think of that have icons that I can remember from when I was a kid.
And you have to think about our time now. You were just saying with the old days, it really did matter. You had to have Watson. And I remember the old days, I used to do flyers and I used to get so much business from that. Now, if I put flyers don't work for me, you have to find out what works for you. And you have to be motivated. You can't just, you're going to have to try different things.
And if you feel like you're stuck in a certain place and you just don't see yourself growing, I think that's what happened with both Sarah and I after we switched from Watson. We loved Watson. We loved the people that we worked with. But we hit that point where we didn't see a whole lot of growth coming out of ourselves. And that was not acceptable. You have to constantly be growing. If 1 year you drop in something that you're doing and you're not as involved, something's wrong. You need to figure out what it is and you need.
Would you agree, and maybe you've seen other agents, that agent who's struggling right now and feels like they're on their own little island? They really aren't. They just need to pick up the phone. If they're watching the podcast today, even if they're not interested in being on the team, but to reach out and talk to other agents, to call you guys and go, hey, let's have coffee. Because I think a lot of people you don't know what you don't know. If you're not seeing what other people are doing or what other brokerages are doing, maybe it's the camaraderie of the Helfer Bliss team or, the support a broker gives an individual agent. You don't see that going on every day unless you go and you're talking to those people and interacting with other people in the industry.
Who you surround yourself with is huge. It's a game changer. So if you are surrounded by people that build you up, that support you, that want your business to grow, you're going to have more confidence in yourself. You're going to grow. And whether people want to join our team or just to be our friends or just advocates in the business, absolutely reach out. We love to talk to new agents, experienced agents. We like to kind of hear what you're doing and, you know, share some of what we're doing and learn from you too.
Sarah, how important is it, you know, because obviously it wasn't that long ago, and everyone thinks the rates do drop, you know, we're going to go back to we're already getting some multiple offers, but back to 15, 20 offers or whatever on a home. How important is to know or to be able to maybe have met that agent who's on the other end, to be able to feel comfortable to pick up the phone and have a frank conversation with them?
You know, interest rates are huge. You know, for nationwide, for every 1% it goes down, 1 million buyers enter the marketplace. When, you know, interest rates go down, you're going to be busy.
Right.
Now, if interest rates are high, you just.
I'm talking about you getting to know other agents. When you get multiple offers, which I imagine you've had in your different listings, you know, and it's getting crazy. When you go down through those offers and you see names of agents, you know.
Absolutely.
How important is that?
It is. You know, we try not to, because you really want to look for what's best for your seller. But also, it's hard not to look at that name, because you know if the transaction is going to go smooth. You know if they're going to, just so much for that.
Not going to be a negotiation
Yeah,
issue. You guys are going to find a win.
And, you know, there are some slimy agents out there that will. I had in 2020, I had agents that I think we had 34 offers on one, and I found 2 agents that had just put offers on every house in the neighborhood, because there was a bunch of houses that were all going on multiple offers. And she didn't know that I had 2 listings in that neighborhood, and she put, you know, $20,000 higher on both my listings, and never even realized that she had sent it to me.
But
and I was the same agent.
And she also didn't know that Sarah knew. Obviously, everybody knows everybody. And
Right.
that she knew the other agents, and they reached out saying, hey, this is happening with this agent.
Yeah. So, you know, now if I see an offer come in, am I going to think that person's actually going to close a deal? You know, I have to protect my seller. You know, I don't, because a lot of these people will be unethical. They'll put in an offer, and then on day 10, they'll walk away, and then we have to do it all over again.
Yep.
And I have to protect my seller. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to be like, hey, just so you know, I have experience with this agent. You know,
they run a tight ship. They know what they're doing. They got the right lender. You know, yeah.
Or if you have an agent that you're concerned that it could not go well, but your seller wants to go with them, you're also going to protect yourself in different ways. You're going to write up certain addendums that we are all on the same page, and you are following through with this, and you are capable of. You know,
and you know what? Get on the phone. Just don't make a prediction and say, okay, this person's bad. Get on the phone and talk to them, because maybe they have a great buyer, and maybe that buyer is going to be the perfect fit for that house. You know, you never know. So just get on the phone.
Because isn't one of the mature agents, the professional agents, they're going to send that offer over, and then they're going to get on the phone and make sure they received it.
I never understand people that don't get on the phone.
Yeah, like they're playing the lottery. What are they?
Like when you make a relationship with another agent and you call them and you're just like, even just like, hey girl, I sent you an offer.
Did you get it?
Just, you know, it just makes that, yes, like just, you know, and not a text. I won't send a text.
Here's the big question now. We'll keep this to 60 seconds each.
Okay.
Okay. And I want
20 seconds.
And make sure the answer is one. Don't straddle across 3 different ideas. Focus on one idea. All right. Why a buyer seller should choose the Helfer Bliss team? Who wants to go first?
Go ahead. You want me to go? You go.
She's got to focus on one. She's got to. Yeah, let her cut hers down to 60 seconds. You go.
I'll go short. I just experience. We both are in the business for a very long time. We know we've been through it all. We have different expertise on multiple different areas, and there's 2 of us. We're always around, and we like to have fun. And you know.
Someone's always picking up the phone. Isn't that how important that is, right? When someone calls that they're at least getting a call back in a reasonable period of time. No matter what agent. Sometimes when you're dealing with the solo agent, you may not get that.
Yeah. I see a lot of agents who start these teams, and I'm like, how long have you been in the business? Like, you really just want to have that experience. Experience is everything.
Well, and I think it is to tab on that statement you just made. If you are thinking, an agent listening to this right now, you are thinking of building a team, you probably should reach out to you guys and how your team, the culture and everything that works for you.
And
April.
that culture works for us, but that's not to say it will work for
Right.
everybody. But it's really good to talk to a lot of different people and see what is going to work.
Right. What fits their thing.
Yeah.
All right,
And
April,
as
you got 60 seconds.
As far as our team goes, I think, like she said, I mean, we do have the experience. We have dealt with, so many transactions. We've overseen so many. We know what is going to get you to stand out. We know what's going to get your listings to stand out. We know what is going to get your offers to stand out. And we're going to do everything imaginable to make it happen. And then we're going to do that. I mean, we have that little boutique side of us where we're going to do the little extra things outside the box.
You did sum it up right there. The above and beyond, I think, is cool. And then have stories. You interview somebody, they say, "Oh yeah, we go above and beyond." Okay, tell me a story when you went above and beyond. That's a good interview question. Go for a job, right? You guys have stories about that and examples that you can tell. That the story that we told today was awesome. I think a lot of people like to say they go above and beyond, but did you really find the way to go above and beyond? And the importance of going above and beyond and finding a way to go above and beyond, realizing that customer in front of you could be 10 more customers over the next several years from referrals or whatever, and stories that they tell.
Don't just go above beyond just during the transaction. Go after, keep
And
in
before.
touch, and
And I think that is big. What is above and beyond for one agent? Is it that you made the phone call instead of just sending a text? Because you don't usually do that. You definitely want to get in and see.
How can you wow them? How can you, right? How do you wow somebody? It's a little different. Some people are actually wowed by the fact you answered the phone. Some people will be like, yeah, every time we called, they answered the phone. That was a real easy wow. But they'll be looking for it. All right. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you want people to know about either one of you or the team? I'm leaving it. I'm done with my questions. I think it was we've been here for an hour and 26 minutes. I think it was great. People got a lot of information and learned a lot about you guys. What I'd love to do, and what I started doing recently too, as a follow-up, not as a full-fledged podcast where I send it out to Apple and Spotify, but every couple of months, I call it a market update. Get you guys on. Hey, what are you guys doing? What are you seeing in the marketplace? Where are your buyers coming from right now? That kind of thing. And just stream it live. We can do it virtually, or if you want to come in and sit in front of me, it's fine. But to do that, just to stay in touch on what you guys got going on, as I know you guys got high aspirations, and keep us updated.
Sounds great.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this podcast too.
absolutely.
It's amazing.
I appreciate you guys coming on. I'm going to sign off. You good?
All right, yes.
All right.